In 2011, the United States set a record with 12 separate billion-dollar weather disasters totaling approximately $52 billion in losses. In Virginia, tornadoes stretched from Gloucester to Glade Spring early in the year, and August brought Hurricane Irene and a devastating earthquake. At Virginia Farm Bureau, we pride ourselves on principles such as personal relationships, being active in our communities, and being there when our members need us most. Those are easy to talk about, but how we live up to these principles is displayed best in years like 2011.
It was a total disaster.
The hail was just, it was big as baseballs, and he just hammered everything. We had some float beds and where we raised our vegetable crops and tobacco, and it riddled those. There wasn't anything left of those.
And this huge canopy of tree laying across the roof.
So I stood up, and our room started cracking and just turning sort of counterclockwise, and the bedroom window just crashed through. So I started, hollered at him, and I said, "I'm coming." And I started down the hall, and the washing machine hit me in the side and pushed me out backwards through the wall. And Bob, the paper said that Bob died on impact, but I know he didn't. I know God took him before he hit the ground.
It was so bad you couldn't walk in the yard. I mean, you just about to krill your ankle over it. There was so much hail in the yard. It's so big.
The two-story house was, the top of it was totally gone. We did not know, still don't know to this day, where the top of the house went.
I called then, and my husband went over there, and by the time he got there, which was maybe 5 minutes later, the tree had fallen through.
Neighbors and customers who would come into our store at Food Country, and just them crying, and because they didn't have insurance or because of their losses, and they were just devastated, and families that would have to live in tents, and then it was just like a war zone.
Within 3 days that we had an adjuster there, it was just unbelievable how quick they came.
I was really surprised that it was a Saturday afternoon when I called, and I actually got to speak to somebody in person. And I didn't have to punch a bunch of numbers in order to do that either. They answered right away. So then within a couple of days, the assessor was out there taking a look at everything, and just went through it all and found everything that needed to be repaired. That's the situation that you're in where you're not feeling that good, and to have somebody come along with the support that you need and you hope to have, and they are there with it, just makes a world of difference.
Yes.
Oh yes, we heard horror stories from some of our neighbors about the response they had from their insurance companies, and many of them still have just tarps on the roofs, and I don't know how they could go to sleep at night.
When you're dealing with home devastation, and you're dealing with such a horrific tragedy, and you're dealing with death, the last thing you need to be dealing with is trying to convince an insurance agency of the personal property you had in your home. I didn't have to go through what we continually hear from everyone else in Glade that said their insurance company said, "Well, you have to do X, Y, and Z." And they said, "Didn't you have to do that?" And I said, "No." And we saw that same care from the insurance adjusters that came to look at the property, that came to look at the vehicles. It was the exact same care and dedication.
Yeah, it was perfect. I would say perfect timing. Very satisfied.
I appreciate my insurance agent, the other insurance that we've been dealing with. I think you need a person behind the scene, somebody you can talk to or you can call.
We were very impressed with all the services we had received, and were extremely satisfied. We think Farm Bureau is great.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
You won't ever change
Great.
us again.
As far as customer service in this day and time, it's a thing of the past. And you find someone that has that and holds on to that, they're worth a chunk of gold.